Hello, friends. This is Charles Bird, and welcome to the November 8th, 2022 edition of Rant-Om Thoughts. We're sacred cows, and because this is election day, we're going to be doing the same with some elephants and donkeys. Are grilled and killed for your whining and dining, lunching and munching pleasure. Okay. Thomas Jefferson is believed to have said once that ignorant and free can never be. I agree. We need to test new voters for basic literacy and civics knowledge. If we had had such safeguards in place, we would have been spared 8 years of Bill Clinton. We would have been spared 8 years of George W. Bush. We would have been spared 8 years of Barack Obama. We would have been spared 4 years of Donald Trump. And we would be spared this flaming dumpster fire of an administration we are living under right now. If you don't follow contemporary politics closely, if you don't know the difference between the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution, if you can't explain how federalism works, if all you know or you think you know about politics comes from your favorite celebrities, comes from shows like The View, comes from stand-up comedians, comes from pop culture. If your basis for picking a candidate is this guy somebody I want to have a beer with, please, in the name of all that is good, right, and holy, stay home. Stay as far away as possible from a polling station. The most moronic proposal I've ever heard to increase voter turnout is to make voting mandatory. Well, I say no. We need less people turning out to the polls. We need a more informed electorate. We need to test for basic literacy. We need to test for civics knowledge. New voters need to be tested. Voters who want to re-register because they've moved or because they want to switch parties, they too need to be tested just so we can make sure we catch anyone who fell through the cracks. So, in other news, something happened over the past few weeks that have cracked some new fault lines in the Mises Caucus, the Libertarian Party, and the broader liberty movement. The Libertarian candidate for U.S. Senate, Mark Victor, he botched up his performance in a debate by saying that age of consent laws should be, up for a debate, and this was very off-putting to a lot of people, both in and out of the party. So Dave Smith, who is the favorite of the Mises Caucus to run for president under the LP banner, and is one of the top three contenders for the Libertarian Party nomination, as well as Dr. Ron Paul, endorsed Blake Masters. Now, Blake Masters, he does have a background with the Mises Institute, and he's written essays that were published on LouRockwell.com back in the late thousands. The problem is that the Blake Masters of 15 years ago isn't the Blake Masters of today. The Blake Masters of today is Israel first and supports a more belligerent stance towards China and wants to throw more money at Ukraine. He's also linked to these very creepy, authoritarian, neo-reactionary types and that just totally rubs me the wrong way. So, I'm no more happy about the decision by Dave Smith and Ron Paul to endorse Blake Masters than the other libertarians who are upset by this. But the libertarians who are upset by that decision, and by the way, Mark Victor dropped out of that race and also endorsed Blake Masters. What they don't get and don't seem to want to get is that Mark Victor's statements about age of consent law was more detrimental than Dave Smith and Ron Paul endorsing Blake Masters. Now, there are some people who would say that libertarians don't favor age of consent laws. Well, let me stop you right there. Anarchists don't favor age of consent law. This libertarian, who is not an anarchist because he does not live in theory land, lives in the real world. And in the real world, children cannot consent to sex. So what's happened is it's cracked some new fault lines. The shock waves of this will be felt from here all the way to 2024, perhaps beyond. I'm going to try my best to stay above the divisions and keep my eyes on the prize, which is, you know, the advancement of human liberty and the restoration of our constitutional republic. Again, I'm no anarchist. I favor limited government. I favor the Constitution, and unlike the people who treat the writings of Lysander Spooner like holy writ, I do not believe that the Constitution has failed. That's not the case. Well, what is the case is that the men who have sworn to uphold it have reneged on their oath. Now, you've heard me mention this in the past few episodes, but I'm just going to bring it up again, and I hope it's the last word I have to say on this, but no. I bear no enmity or ill will towards Kanye West. I mean, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of his. I'm not a fan of his music. I'm not a fan of rap music in general. But I don't hate him. Who I have a problem with are the people handling him. With the people who are handling him, the conservative Inc. Grifters, Candace Owens and her husband George Farmer, who have decided that it would be cute and funny to put him in a White Lives Matter T-shirt and parade him around. I have problems with the TV interviewers who gin up ratings by putting him in a chair, putting a camera in front of him just to see what crazy things he says next. I also have a problem with these terminally stupid people out there who mistake his ramblings for sage wisdom and are trying to make some kind of guru out of him. Well, I have news for you. That's not sage wisdom coming out of his mouth. No. That's untreated bipolar disease. It's untreated mental illness. He doesn't know what the hell he's saying a good 75% of the time. You know. I mean, if he's going to be your guru, if he's going to be your source for intellectual inspiration and spiritual guidance, you're in trouble. You are in trouble. You know. And even if he wasn't mentally ill, of course, I mean, institutions and organizations and companies are right to distance themselves from him because, when you single out Jews for causing all of the world's ills, guess what's that called? Guess what that is called? It's called anti-Semitism. And it's not censorship, for them to cut ties with Kanye West because of those statements. It's freedom of association. So no, He is no more a free speech murderer than, Alex Jones. Finally got around to watching The Northman. It's on Amazon. As big a literature buff as I am, it took me till about halfway through the film to realize, holy crap, this is Hamlet. The protagonist, Hamlet, is Hamlet. Kind of a mind blower there. I even had to hop on Google and look all that up just to confirm it. But yeah, there is a folk historical basis for Hamlet, about a Viking prince who avenges his father's death. His father, who was murdered by a corrupt uncle. Beautifully made film. You know, Probably wouldn't let kids watch it because it does get a bit intense, the violence, but good movie. All right. Well, I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote gold, even though there are no libertarian candidates on my ballot. There are libertarian positions on the ballot issues, so I will be, voting no on tax increases and bond measures. And I will be voting my conscience and voting no on Proposition 1, which is the Margaret Sanger Eugenics Act. Not reproductive freedom, the Margaret Sanger's Eugenics Act. As my father would say, call things what they really are. All right. This is a lot shorter than I thought it would have been. Still trying to get new guests to appear with me on episodes of Convo. Well, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to vote. But before all that, I'm going to go check on Wizard and see if he doesn't hate my guts for putting him out. When I tried recording a bit earlier, he was acting up. And those Taiwanese, they love their attention. So, until next time, keep your BS detectors turned on. I'll try to do something tomorrow, post-mortem, depending on how busy I am, or maybe a little later on down the week when I have more of a clearer picture of what it looks like and more results are in. All right. Love you all.